Amazon forest failed to build road for climate summit. I think it's just amazing that one of the biggest contributors to climate change is climate change activism. It's like, I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's kind of not funny, but it's still funny. But a new 4-lane highway cutting through tens of thousands of acres of protected Amazon rainforest is being built for the COP30 climate summit in the Brazilian city of Belém. It aims to ease traffic to the city, which will host more than 50,000 people, including world leaders at the conference in November. The state. The state government touts the highway's sustainable potential. But some locals and conservationists are outraged at the environmental impact. I mean, yeah, the Amazon, right? Okay, I know that the Amazon isn't the biggest producer of oxygen in the world. That's actually algae in the ocean, it turns out. Right, but it's still a very, very important habitat, right? And it's one of the things it does produce, it absorbs a lot of the carbon from the atmosphere. That's a very, very good thing to an extent. To an extent. Lots and lots of CO2 produces an ingreening effect, as it's called, where plants get bigger, stronger, larger, etc., because there's lots of CO2 for them to consume, right? But they also take that out of the atmosphere and they also produce oxygen. Plants are what keeping it. A lot of people don't realize this because the algae is still plant life, technically. It just lives in the ocean. Humans, we have a symbiotic relationship with plants. We do. We have a symbiotic relationship with them, which is why it's very, very important to take care of them. But instead, we're just going to bulldoze tens of thousands of acres of the Amazon rainforest, save the trees and all that stuff for a fucking road. For a fucking road, man. The Amazon plays it just so rich people can get to their little fucking thing faster. The Amazon plays a vital role in absorbing carbon for the world and providing biodiversity, and many say this deforestation contradicts the very purpose of a climate summit. Along the partially built road, lush rainforest towers on either side, a reminder of what was once there. Logs are piled high in the cleared land, which stretches more than 13 kilometres through the rainforest into Belém. Diggers and machines carve through the forest floor, paving over wetland. Oh, wetlands as well, that's great. You know that wetlands are sometimes little contained areas, but there's certain species of animals that can only live in wetlands. That's why the British raft spider, which is the biggest spider in the country, they're dying out because people keep bulldozing over the wetlands because it's called a raft spider because it uses the surface tension of the water to hunt. Biggest natural spider to Britain as well, by the way, and they're completely dying off. So yeah, wetlands are extremely important, and they're even paving over the wetlands. That's great, which will cut through a protected area. Claudio Vericat lives about 200 metres from where the road will be. He used to make an income from harvesting acai berries from trees that once occupied the space. Everything was destroyed, he says, gesturing at the clearing. Our harvest has already been cut down. We no longer have that income to support our family. He says he has received no compensation from the state government and is currently relying on savings. Wow, how wonderful. It's even making people poorer just so that the rich people can get to the little fucking gay summit even faster. He says, I've just read that. He worries the construction of the road will lead to more deforestation in the future now that the area is more accessible for business. Our fear is that one day someone will come here and say, here's some money, we need this area to build a gas station or to build a warehouse, and then we'll have to leave. We were born and raised here in the community, where are we going to go? His community won't be connected to the road given its walls on either side. So, I mean, you could have at least helped the guy, sort of do a bit of trade or something like that. But instead, you've built the road right through his shit and then walled him off from it. Like, what the fuck? For us who live on the side of the highway, there will be no benefits. There will be benefits for the trucks that will pass through. If someone gets sick and needs to go to the centre of Belém, we won't be able to use that. No, why is this like company just saying fuck you specifically to this poor man? The road leaves two disconnected areas of protected forest. Scientists are concerned it will fragment the ecosystem and disrupt the movement of wildlife, which, yeah, it does. Basically, it forms a migration border where some animals can't get across it. Like, for example, if you've ever driven through the Highlands in the north of Scotland, which I do all the bloody time now, it's just dead grouse and pheasants all over the fucking place. And dead deer, which I don't really care about too much because our deer have no natural predators. No natural predators whatsoever, and you just cannot get a fucking hunting license here. You can't get a rifle license or anything like that. So basically, there's almost no. The only people that can hunt deer are like really, really rich motherfuckers with a lot of land, or people that have never so much as even sneezed near a police officer their entire life. It's next to impossible to get a rifle license and then also get a license to go and hunt the deer. So deer are fucking everywhere up here. They're everywhere. Um, Professor Sylvia Sardina is a wildlife vet and researcher at a university animal hospital that overlooks the site of the new highway. She and her team rehabilitate wild animals with injuries predominantly caused by humans or vehicles. Once healed, they release them back into the wild, something she says will be harder if there is a highway on their doorstep. From the moment of deforestation, there is a loss. We are going to lose an area to release these animals back into the wild, the natural environment of these species, she said. Land animals will no longer be able to walk across to the other side too, reducing the areas where they can live and breed. I've just realised they're not going to get knocked down. There's a wall. And that can have a huge effect. A lot of people don't understand the huge effect it can have. Has anybody ever heard about the mysterious migration border that no one can explain that runs through the islands of like Islay, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, that area? There's a weird border that like runs through there that animals just don't cross. It's a really, really strange phenomenon. You can go and look it up. I'm not explaining it to you. The Brazilian president and environmental minister says this will be a historic summit because it is a COP in the Amazon, not a COP about the Amazon, and they've bulldozed a chunk of the Amazon to make it fucking happen. This has to be on purpose. This has to be on purpose just to make us fucking hate all of them. Fuck me. The president says the meeting will provide an opportunity to focus on the needs of the Amazon, show the forest to the world, and present what the federal government has done to protect it. Well, they've even walled it off on either side, so the fuckers can't even stare at it and look at it as they're driving to this fucking place. This is so dumb. But Professor Sardina says that while these conversations will happen at a very high level among business people and government officials, those living in the Amazon are not being heard. There it is there. Fucking hell. The state government of Para had touted the idea of this highway, known as Avenida Liberdad, as early as 2012, but it had repeatedly been shelved because of environmental concerns. Now, a host of infrastructure projects have been resurrected or approved to prepare the city for the COP summit. Adler Silveira, the state government's infrastructure secretary, listed this highway as one of 30 projects happening in the city to prepare and modernise it so we can have a legacy for the population and, more importantly, serve people for COP30 in the best possible way. Speaking to the BBC, he said it was a sustainable highway and an important mobility intervention. He added it would have wildlife crossings for animals to pass over, bike lanes and solar lighting, new hotels also being built, and the port is being redeveloped so cruise ships can dock there to accommodate excess visitors. So basically, you're basically telling us that more parts of it will be bulldozed. Because where are you going to build these hotels and stuff? Yeah, where the fucking trees are. Jesus. Brazil's federal government is investing more than $81 million to expand the airport capacity from 7 to 14 million passengers. A new 500,000 square metre city park, Parque de Cidade, is under construction. It will include green spaces, restaurants, a sports complex, and other facilities for the public to use afterwards. Do you know what's also a green space? The Amazon. It's a pretty big one. Or it was, at least. But anyway. Some business owners in the city's vast open-air Vero Peso market agreed that this development will bring opportunities for the city. The city as a whole is being improved, it is being repaired, and a lot of people are visiting from other places. It means I can sell more and earn more, says Dalci Cardosa da Silva, who runs a leather shoe stall. Yeah, because that's what the rich people are coming there to buy. Shoes from your little stall. They're getting theirs from Italy, from specialists, man. But anyway, he says this is necessary because when he was young, Belém was beautiful, well kept, well cared for. But it has since been abandoned and neglected with little interest from the ruling class. Does anybody remember the Brazilian World Cup? Yeah, they built a fuck ton of stuff for that as well. What happened to all that stuff afterwards? Look it up. Wow. Is that how you pronounce that? Jaio. Wow. I have no idea. Alexandra Trindade da Silva, who sells Amazonian herbal medicines in the market, acknowledges that all construction work can cause problems, but he felt the future impact would be worth it. I hope the discussions aren't just on paper and become real actions, and the measures, the decisions taken, really are put into practice so that the planet can breathe a little easier. By essentially, the Amazon is the Amazon is referred to as Earth's lungs. It breathes in all the CO2 and releases all the oxygen. So that's why I found that funny. So that the population in the future will have a little cleaner air. You mean from the highway with all the cars on it? Okay, that will be the hope of world leaders too who choose to attend the COP30 summit. Scrutiny is growing over whether flying thousands of them all across the world and the infrastructure required to host them is undermining the cause. It is. This is dumb. This is stupid. Basically, I'm starting to notice that lots of climate activism is just completely hypocritical. It is. It's just hypocritical. Here's what you should do, right? Fly them all, right? Fly them all to Brazil, sit them at the front of the Amazon, give them a backpack and a 2L of water, and make them fucking walk there. They like nature so much they can fucking walk through it. Send them through the park with all the jaguars. Send them through there with all the fucking anacondas and crocs and all that type of stuff. Send them through there. There you are. They get to experience the nature that they love so much, and we get to solve a major problem.